The time has come for lions to tell I own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Ras Tafari hailing from the island of signify. Yeah, I'm bringing to you Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari, because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Haile, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empressment and blessed. Yeah man, hailing from Rastafari, Rastafari, I hear you.
Aye.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
Yeah, man. Greetings, Rastafari, Haile Emperor, the King Selassie, the first, the perfect balance, Empress Menin. This is first man for Rastafari Indigenous Village, recognizing, accepting, promoting Lion Voice. Yes, the voice of Rastafari, speaking about Rastafari, educating Rastafari, preserving, protecting Rastafari. Give thanks.
Aye, yes, Rastafari, mighty.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega, representing for all lions and lionesses. With the Lion's Voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Now drop your guard when it come to them, ya youth, ya. Them fully guard up and them quick fi execute, ya. Now drop your guard when it come to them, ya youth, ya. The one will laugh, I'm same one of the shooter. Watching them, this is Rasta Jai representing for the Lion Voice Network. This is the time when the lion gets to tell our own story. Haile Selassie.
I will never stop, hail the Most High. And I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Shiloh. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the Lion's Voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Shiloh said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the Lion's Voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the light. Lion Voice.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro. I haven't eaten all day. Like, it start to hurt me too. Like, oh no, could I eat right now?
What about a city samosa? Get your samosa, a fusion of Indian, Jamaican, and African culture. City samosas, the best samosas in the city.
Rastafari!
Them could never conquer the mountains. Thousands of years and counting. Ethiopia rise again unto the world. Now we are announcing. Them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. When the trumpet sound and the violence cease, how we say one go build up the cities. Well, them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. Rastafari crown as the Prince of Peace. Him tell the youths them fi build up them countries. Well, solar energy that them a see. The whole city powered by the sun's energy. The road them make out of hemp and concrete. Neighborhoods full of fruit trees that taste sweet. The youths put down them guns, them harvest and a reap. The beautiful gardens will line every street. Tired of the bloodshed, them done with the beef. Not even animals for that, them burn out the meat. Where people say Haile Selassie, I see Nile. When they see say him a treat the dirt like a child. Peace on earth from the banks of the Nile. That's why we giving thanks in style. Sister Babylon a weapon, them a stockpile. Babylon a wicked, kill them brother and smile. Lion, Babylon a reptile. Them a plant for shed blood, we got plans for the soil. Them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. When the trumpet sound and the violence cease, how we say one go build up the cities. Well, them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. Rastafari crown as the Prince of Peace. Him tell the youths them fi build up them countries. No more gullies, proper sanitation. Proper toilets with proper filtration. Clean water for the youths them fi use. Our sons and daughters safe, no more child abuse. Africa arise, read it in the news. On the day when Rastafari ready, wicked have fi move. 3D printing alongside hem shoes. Herb get legalized, hard drugs them get refused. Well, people used to say they bring him man senile. True himself he tried it with man, woman and child. Himself peace on earth from the banks of the Nile. That's why we giving thanks in. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live.
and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Family, tonight, once again, we are going to make history. We are introducing our first guest out of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Rastafari family. When we started this, we started and set out to have a global platform, not just featuring Rastafari in Jamaica, but Rastafari globally. This is part of the legacy of Kadamawi Haile Selassie. We wanted to demonstrate the power, the legacy, that exists. And everyone that we bring on the platform is a worker who has distinguished themselves with a resume of work on the earth. So tonight is one of those nights we are going to reason with a powerful Sistine Queen Omega, fresh from the second staging of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Ital Fest. There was an Ital Fest kept in Jamaica that also was kept, but this is very interesting to I&I because as the item know, we are currently working on an Ital certification standard. Ital is one of the key intellectual property assets of the Rastafari community globally. And so, things are happening all over, but it's important that we, come together and there is overstanding in terms of how we utilize these brands across land and sea. And the item know I'm a creative industry attorney, so I love that. So I want to big up the network who linked me with this sister that we're going to reason with tonight. Again, I don't know the St. Vincent and Grenadines Rastafari community, so this is a first. So if you're watching live, be prepared for another first in the history of the Lion Voice Network. I'm very excited. We did a test, Wi-Fi the guy a little bit, but we think we cleaned it up. So we'll welcome the sistren here shortly. But before we welcome the sistren, the item know that we have to take time to big up the greatest online community, which is the Lion Pride. And if you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. We just had our town hall meeting. Yes, we're having town hall meetings with our Lion Pride on Patreon, and powerful. I get charged, I get inspired by the audience, reasoning with the item and getting the ideas. It makes this channel more powerful because a collective is not just I. We have created a brain trust, and as a result, the guest ideas, the topics, everything is just on another level. So we're asking the item to join I&I. We may hit 50,000 subscribers during this broadcast. If we hit 50,000, let I&I know in the comments. I definitely want to just acknowledge and celebrate. Now, if you're a content creator, you can't watch subscribers anymore. Subscribers, it's irie, and we love it, but subscriber is not a metric on how successful your channel is. It just means more people are getting the impressions of the platform. We celebrate these metrics nonetheless, because again, when you're on a journey, celebrate all the little success where you have, because when the Almighty see that you're grateful, He will bless you with more. The Almighty love getting the praise and the gratitude. The spirits of gratitude is one of growth and development. So anytime you're building, when you have an attitude of gratitude, it's powerful. So let Iman know in the comments if we hit 50,000 subscribers, so we can just acknowledge. The item know we'll have a special guest, and we'll have a special episode where we'll invite the audience to come on the program, the live, and we just hold a joy. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned as we continue to build. We have 41 lion and lioness in the Lion Pride on Patreon who are giving monthly to the platform. We almost hit 50. I want to hit 50 by September, we're launching a program where we're going to be choosing one worker out there, Rastafari worker or cause, and we're going to give a monetary contribution from the Lion Pride to that worker, to that cause, something small to start, and then we're going to highlight them with a reasoning, whatever the work is, give them some highlight, but not just, so we're not just reasoning with one, we're reasoning with one and giving them a small strength of gratitude coming from the collective. And we're going to vote in the town hall meetings, our monthly meetings. This is for the monthly subscribers, about what that is and who that person is. And everyone who is part of our Patreon will be able to recommend ones. And over time, as the channel build, the amount of funds build. One of the things I want to do with the platform, I keep telling the eye with the collective, is to be able to finance, move around capital, fully fund some projects, just by the power of crowdfunding. If you haven't seen the episode with Dr. Kadamawi Knife, go check out the episode with Dr. Kadamawi Knife about social enterprise and what Marcus Garvey was doing. And we're building that model here where we want, if I bring a guest, for example, our guest tonight, great sister from St. Vincent, if she said she's doing a project and she needs 10,000 funding, I have 50,000 subscribers. If 10,000 people even give $1, we fund the project right there. No long talking. We have that power in the modern era. And that's the kind of mobilization that I'm envision with this platform. That's why I say we're actionists. Time for action. We have the reasoning and we talk, give thanks for that too. But we want to actually change lives and then document it in real time. If it's not about making history, then why are we doing it? With the mundane, this back and forth, them things they're not interest I and I. We want to build Mount Zion on earth, physically. And we want to touch it and see how it feel in there, in a real life. That is what motivates I and I every day, because it's possible with the technology, everything that's going on right now, brethren and sisters. You mean to tell me we don't have Rastafari communities with full eco-sanitation and beautiful Ital luxury? We want to talk about that term there. Ital, luxurious can still be Ital. This term Ital just means natural, fully natural. We use the bamboo, we use certain things, So this is why the term Ital is so important. And of course, the term was coined by one of Iman teachers, the great Ras Iris. Always have to remember the term Irie, the terms Ital. He was the elder who uttered them term there, And I reasoned with him and him said it meant natural, the term was natural. So this is what we really want to share with the people, is that Rastafari is getting ready to go on another level. And we're building a platform to make sure that we're there and it's not BBC we're waiting on to come and tell our story, or CNN and then put in some next little thing. No, we have our own network that's bringing together the identity. And you notice, no mix up over here. We don't allow mix up over here. Come and talk sense. We're not all yes men. We don't agree about everything, but no mix up. We're marching forward. So marching forward, we can't have no mix up and no blender over here. No petty difference over here. One accord. We agree to disagree. We keep step. That is how the whole fullness go. So big up all of the Lion Pride on Patreon, the Action Lion Pride, everyone who's contributing to build this platform in real time. We're building the airplane as we're flying. All of the item, I really have that attitude of gratitude, because trust me, we just dropped the Tony Rebel. The Tony Rebel episode is doing well. The full episode is now available. And we talked to Tony Rebel about Rastafari-owned festivals and, You know what I mean? Because my viewpoint is that we need to have sovereignty over our culture. You know what I mean? From anything dealing with Rastafari should own it. These are strategic community assets. I've had the same reason with Sister Masani, with Rasta Fest, you know, identifying all of these cultural assets. You know, if it's Ital Fest is what we have to catalog all these things, and we create our own economy. You know what I mean? Everything outside, we still partner with everyone, you know. That don't mean say you become an isolationist. His Majesty took Ethiopia out of isolation. We're not saying that. But we must have your own, you know what I mean, where you don't have to come out yourself and what you're doing amongst each other. There's enough of ones now who charge Rastafari that we can have our own ecosystem, economic ecosystem. So you see all of the products and services, a lot of people complain about not a lot of people, don't let me say that, please forgive I. Some comments, you know, from time to time pop up about the long intro, but what the item have to understand? Well, number one, in Rastafari culture, you never just run into a space and we jump in a reasoning. That is not Rastafari culture. So anyone who know Rastafari know you have to come in, seat up, you know what I mean, things bubble, sorry out, everything nice down, and then we get into the reasoning, you know what I mean? So the channel is the same way. We have some intro. We're introducing you to different flavors, commerce. We have our youth entrepreneur, big up City Samosa. And remember, if you have a young person under 20, their commercials can run on the channel free if they have a product or service. We have that program. Any young person, you know what I mean, no charge, will run their advertisement, you know, once it's appropriate. So, and it's in alignment with now run the advertisement for pork chops and them something there, you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. But if it's appropriate, then we'll move forward. So we're creating an ecosystem. That's why we have the commercials, and I do the editing. I'm a functional editor because I say consistency beats perfection. But as we grow and I can afford an editor, the thing I go nice up, and we'll offer that service to our Rastafari businesses. We have professional commercials, you know. So the channel is gonna evolve as we get more investment from the community into the channel. It's not gonna stay like better cameras, better everything as we grow. So I really, again, just give thanks for the ones who see the vision from early. Our Ubuntu Lion Pride, you pay $100 US, you're immortalized as an Ubuntu Lion Pride. I big up them ones there. And anyone, you know what I mean? Because we're investing in the channel, and we're gonna start getting into documentary filmmaking, different fullness, you know what I mean? But from a Rastafari worldview, that is the key with all of the content that we're creating here, is that we're coming with a Rastafari worldview, a Pan-African worldview, you know what I mean? And we're saying that Rastafari must have its own corner of the internet where we can just deal with I&I affairs and Pan-African affairs, you know what I mean? So that is what we are building here today. So we're going to bring in very shortly the sister to talk about the St. Vincent and the Grenadines second staging of the Ital Fest. Big things are going in St. Vincent family. This is our first guest from the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we are very excited to talk to. And we're going to find out what going on with the community in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and get the history. You know, we like to season the pot. So I'm looking forward to this episode. And again, we want to find out, because this also continues the trend. The Prime Minister Gonzalez was there at the Ital Fest. We saw the pictures, and this is continuing the trend. Remember, with us coming from Rasta Fest with the mayor. If you haven't seen that clip, the mayor of Toronto endorsing Rasta Fest. We had the BI Rastafari, the governor, apologize and declare July 23rd Rastafari Day. We had the Jamaica government in anticipation of the election grant 2 plots of land to the Rastafari Choral Garden Benevolent Society. So we're seeing a sweeping tide of acknowledgement from government officials to the Rastafari movement. And yes, we can burn a fire and say burn Babylon and we don't want nothing from Babylon, but we know that wouldn't be consistent with His Imperial Majesty. You know, we have to deal with the diplomacy, the government relation. And the question is, how can we leverage all of this that's happening? And this is why I chose to rise the Rastafari media, because these things, we don't want these things happening in isolation. We're viewing these things in isolation. Rastafari is breaking the bars all around creation. All of the governments now, especially now that cannabis policy is freeing up, are looking to partner with the Rastafari community, with festivals. They know tourism dollars, that's how they think business. But how are we getting ourselves ready internally to ensure that when we come to the table, we have leverage and they're not just using us for photo ops, and we're not just going up there and feeling good about a moment without a strategic long-term plan and vision. So I want to just put that there. We're getting ready. We're going to bring forward the sistren. But before we bring forward the sistren, let us just take a quick look at preparation in some sense of the St. Vincent Ital Fest.
You don't know anything going on, but St. Vincent and the Grenadines represent the Ital Fest 2025. I don't know we are right. We represent Yard. When they are abroad, we get over there saying, yes, now what I try. You don't know the thing going. You don't know come get your mushroom, get the kind on, you don't know how to talk. Ital, we say, that is it. Step by step, take me up on the ground. IG, no, we have no. Understand?
Yes, Ital Fest. So Jamaican was there. Ital Fest are going good. Let us see what else here. Hold on. I have to mute. There's some music playing on this video. I have to mute it so I don't get a copyright strike. But you can see the settings. Ital Fest are going away. Yes, Ital Fest are going away. And we'll get the sistren to describe what we're looking at here. And we're going to talk about the business, you know what I mean? Because one of the things too is that the sistren is an accountant by profession. Again, you know, as Rastafari, we realize we reach a stage where every aspect of nation building, His Majesty has risen ones with the skill set to accomplish these things, you know what I mean? So now is the time, you know, we really have to come together and be strategic and have a plan. You know, if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. We always say that. So we're gonna get ready to bring forward the sistren. Hold on 1 second here. This sistren is a royal Ethiopian sistren, part of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Rastafari community. Big up Sister Ishiba out of Barbados who gave I the link. Give us a warm Lion Pride welcome to Sister Ideisha. Royal greetings. Okay, one of them night that Wi-Fi the guy, we're going to beat up the challenge. Anytime you're making history now, because after this, you can't say are the first out of St. Vincent, you know what I mean? The link neck will be reasoning with other elders in the St. Vincent community. So after this, you know what I mean? This is why sometimes you see technical difficulties, the this, the that one creeping. But we keep on going. The Lion Pride know how we deal with it over here. We don't panic. I always tell people we're not Russian, meaning we don't rush. We're Ethiopian, you know what I mean? So, and that's no disrespect to Russia, because we know about Alexander Pushkin, Ethiopian influence in Russia, you know what I mean? We know about that. All right, so let us. Greetings.
Greetings, greetings. Pleasant good night to all the listeners.
Royalty, royalty. Give thanks, give thanks. I was just saying what a great honor the has made history as the first Rastafari out of St. Vincent. You see what I'm talking about, people? Shining glory, and the Wi-Fi, the guy wants to start the show. But we are confident in the victory. We are breaking the barriers over land and sea with this platform. We are breaking the barrier.
I am very, very sorry about the terrible. I keep trying to press something at the bottom and keep kicking myself out. I'm new to StreamYard, so forgive me, listeners, viewers, please. Greetings from St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
I listen.
I'm not going to touch anything else. I'm not going to touch anything.
Haile, and I'm not even going to tell you if you turn your phone sideways. We're just going to move. All right, so we have a tradition here on the Lion Talk show. Yes, see it there? Okay, all right. I didn't want to even test it, but beautiful, glorious. We don't panic over here, family. We take our time. You know what I mean? What will be, will be. The most I done set it. You know what I mean? We're doing the work. So we have a tradition here on Lion Talk where we ask our guests to step into the Lion Talk time machine. Take us to the moment of your birth. Tell us the origin story of how creation came to have an angel named Sister Ideisha, please.
Okay. Well, I was born named Angela Jackson. My mother and father are non-Rastas. My mother single-handedly, you could say, brought me up. My father migrated to the US, and I lived with a mother who worked extremely hard and long hours to make sure she took care of the five of us. I was born in a small community of Sion Hill, where I had the opportunity to see and watch and learn from Rastas in the community.
Okay.
I remember one of my aunts, I used to visit my aunt who lives not too far away from me, and right next to her was a ancient elder sister named Ilan, who I always watch and admire her struggle, her resilience, her warmth, and she had at the time about 4 or 5 children. She ended up having about 6 children, and we came extremely close after years, right? But I watched and was impressed by her strength as a single. Well, she wasn't a single mom, but she worked very hard, basically taking care of her family. I also had the privilege of seeing and watching, the Rastafari men in the community who looked pretty unique and different and walked to their own rhythm.
Yes.
If you must say, in the early, we had some hardcore bump and trad and, a unique flair. I went through high school. I remember going even to confirmation in the Anglican church.
What year did you start high school?
I started high school in 1986 and finished in 1991.
Okay.
I just hit my half century a few months ago.
Okay.
So I am officially in the middle period.
Yes. I and they
So
are the same generation. They would call X. You know what I mean?
oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. So basically, I went to the girls' high school, which was an all-girls school. Then I went on to A levels, and even going through high school, I could remember vividly of a Rasta woman. Her name is Sister Angie, and she
Okay.
used to sell in the capital city, Kingston. She used to actually was a seamstress, a craft person, and I could always remember she looked just different. She always had on her African print. Her hair always tie up nice, and she's a beautiful dark empress, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
used to always say, boy, she looks so special, and she look because she's so stand out. She standed out
Yes.
because she always had on these bright colored prints, and then she was
Yeah.
selling bright colored prints and bags, and I always saw the uniqueness and specialness. When I passed, and I always had to glance over, and she would always be very warm towards the children generally. So
Yes.
those were some of my earliest interactions, like with just observing the Rastafari persons from
Yes.
outside, right?
Okay. Okay.
No, obviously everybody would have heard the music of Bob Marley, the Burning Spear, even at that young age. But
Yes.
I went through high school, and then I went on to what we call like our A-level college. At that
Yeah.
time, we didn't have a community college.
Okay.
Finished school, searching for jobs, couldn't find jobs, and had a lot of time on my hand, where that time led me to sitting and reasoning with some Rasta brethren, starting to read a little bit more about Africa, about wanting to learn about your culture.
Okay.
Um, and start self-searching and figuring, I was never a person who loved makeup. I was
Yes.
never a person who loved short clothing.
Yes.
I was never a person who, who loved, as I saying, like alcohol or
Yes.
smoking or anything like that.
Yes. Yes.
So within my search, I always found that there was something missing because, as I said, I was going through confirmation classes and just found a lot of the things that they taught us didn't sound right. So,
Yes.
genuflecting to a graven image, which you tell me nobody should bow to a graven image in the Bible, but as a part of my communication, I had to be bowing to a graven image. I had to be eating bread that signified the body, and there was a
Yes.
lot of things. There was a lot of things. This image on a cross who looked
Yes.
nothing like me, and
Yes. Yes.
so I started searching, as I said, for my black self, trying to find
I,
a way to connect to who I really am and giving praises to someone who looked more like me.
I
So
love that.
within that searching and that analysis, and reading at that early stage a lot of the Bible, and look to the east for the crowning of a black king, the title that was given unto His Majesty, conquering
Yes.
lion of the tribe of Judah. And, it just gravitated to me that I needed to see myself in my creator. I
Mm.
needed to connect to an image of me, an image of somebody who is human and not somebody who has white hair, blonde eye, blue eyes, blonde hair.
Yes.
So I just couldn't accept that as the way I want to charter my course in my life.
Wow.
So, as I grew, at that time I didn't see Rastafari as many empresses do through a
Yes.
king. At that time I did not have a king, man.
I
I
was just
cited
gonna ask the eye because a lot of
yeah,
queens come through, reason with a king man but
that
continue.
wasn't that wasn't I. That wasn't I.
I love
So
that. I
at
love
that
that.
time, I did have a boyfriend, as we would say back that time. I was just 18, headed into 19. I just finished college, as I say, searching for myself. So I did have a boyfriend who we've been together for about 2 years before that. And after I started to make the tradition to Rastafari, he himself started to gravitate to Rastafari. So we had a few years together as a young Rasta couple, each trying to find our own way. Um, Unfortunately, we ended after a little while. And, I journeyed on through life.
Yes.
Um, I had my kids. I'll have three beautiful sons, which are two only things I ever prayed for was to
Yes.
have children
Okay.
because I took a long time. I was about 30 years old before I got pregnant, which all my
Yeah.
other Rasta sisters had kids already. And I
Okay.
prayed for kids, and I did got my two first kids very close together.
Yes.
Um, a little joke, I used to see a lot of women with a little baby lift up on a big belly, and I used to say, "What happened? They don't sleep." And I ended up having a
The same.
son about 7 months old, and
Yes.
then I became pregnant again.
Wow.
So I had two sons very close together, and when they started to grow, people used to say, "You have twins," because
Yes.
they were so very close together. And they are Jafari, my firstborn.
Yes.
His name is Jafari Lazidi Emmanuel Samuel.
Haile.
And then I had
Haile.
Tafari Messiah Anand Samuel. So
Yes.
those are the two I had very close together. And then when I had Tafari, just about 4 months old, I lost his dad, their dad. He was
Oh.
murdered. So that was a terrible tribulation time for us.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
after praying for kids, I eventually had two kids with no father. So that was
Condone.
a very tough time. We went through, a strong period. It's almost 18 years now since he passed. It's 17 plus years since he passed.
Yes.
And, the boys had to grow without their father. We're forgiven. Well, I've
Yes.
forgiven all who've wronged us and hope that they find peace.
And
You
Haile
know?
Selassie is a father to the fatherless, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and judge over the widows. So we give thanks and condolences for the loss, tremendous loss. But
Give
continue.
thanks. Yes, and as I said to Johnny Don, I had another son, third son, Mikhail, we call him, and I've been journeying this trad of Rastafari. I was just listening to the interview of Sister Sheba,
Yes.
and I must say, I'm really proud. We hung out today. Actually, I took her to the river. We had a nice wash.
Yes.
She got to
Nice.
get a nice waterfall bath, and wash her locks and recharge to go back to Barbados. And, it's really a blessing when sisterins like her and
Yes.
King Man like Jarudi can find each other and be together for 48 years. Some of us
Yes.
don't have that blessing. Some of
Yeah.
us don't have that blessing. My sons jokingly tell me, "Mommy, you're not for man, you're not for man." So I've decided that I'm going to stay on the path of being alone and
Okay.
continue to doing the work for Rastafari.
Well, we give
Um,
thanks. We give thanks.
and it's been a wonderful road. There's a few things I've regretted in my life, but I've never regretted being Rastafari and choosing this path. It's been a path that has given me tremendous strength. And I always say, even at the Ital Fest activity, some
Yes.
of the sisterins were, giving me accolades, sister, you're really strong and you're really great. And that is true. And I would take the accolades, but also I would give the accolades to all of my sisterins who have lived this life at points in time where young sisterins like I could not have gone through. The elder sisterins of the Rastafari movement would have been persecuted,
Yes.
prosecuted,
Yes.
chastised,
Yes.
disrespected.
Yes.
And we came up in a time when it started to be more normal. That's Babylon system normal, because we know we always normal. And I
Yes.
always normal. But it's normal and accepted to, be turbaned up, to have locks, to look Afrocentric.
Yes. Yes.
So what the sisterins would have gone through until today, I would always commend them, because I know many of the young sisterins today could not survive those level of, disrespect, your
Yes.
family alienations, and
Yes.
all of that. So I give thanks, and I told them that I am as strong as I am, because I wouldn't say stand, I would say I'm supported by the works of the sisterins before
Haile.
and so is Sister Sheba's works, Sister Ijania works, Mama
Yes.
Lave work,
You call
Mama,
my
all the mamas, all the
bona fide
mamas.
sister name, When you call Sister Johnny, you call my bona fide sister
Well,
name,
it's all of Iona is bona fide, my brother. Enough ones often said that, I look like her, I song like her,
Yes.
and I met her many years ago in the first Caribbean Rastafari conference held in Barbados in 1998. And tried in that time as a young sister for just about 4 or 5 years in the tradition. because I started the journey of Rastafari in about 95, late 95. So going after that conference in Barbados, I was a young sister, but very active here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines amongst the Rasses. And when the call came for us to come through, I made sure that I was present at that conference and, many more after that one. So, always from the start of my journey. Sorry, you
No,
wanted to
I'm
ask?
gonna ask you, as a young sister, how did you reconcile the divinity of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie the First? And do you trod within one of the houses, or you just trod non-aligned as a Rastafari sister?
Well, clearly the divinity of His Imperial Majesty. Once you follow the lineage of the Bible, if you follow his lineage and the titles that he received on his coronation day, and I was listening to Sister Sheba, his speeches, his conduct, as I said, his whole, from the time of his birth and his ascension to prince, to king, to emperor, has all been ordained through the chronicles of the Bible, right? Haile Selassie for I is a man who lived by his words. And I try to say that most of the times, many of I and I Rastafari do not live and use his words as an example. And I use many times, and we may agree or disagree on this. We use Bonaji's words, we use Dad's words, we use Prince Emmanuel's words, and sometimes they contradict Haile Selassie's words.
Yes.
So I have, from the early inceptions of Rastafari, I have gravitated to the Nyabingi order,
Yes.
but I would have as well visited, the Bobo Tabernacle in Trinidad because my son's father was searching for that direction and I was supportive of him. So I went along to see and to learn and to overstand. I have sat with the 12 tribe brothers and hold a high respect amongst them and also give them a high respect. But overall, my brother, I would see myself as a Rastafari woman because sometimes I find when we gravitate to a mansion, we kind of sideline the other mansion. And first and foremost, I am a follower of Ras Tafari, Haile Selassie. I'm not a follower of Bonadis, I'm not a follower of God, I'm not a follower of...
Yes.
I'm not a follower of any other man than King Haile Selassie. I respect all other men. I respect their works. I respect their contribution to the trad. I would never be disrespectful and say they have not performed great works. They have not given to our cause and our civilization. They haven't given to our way of life. But I hold fast firmly to the words of His Imperial Majesty. I want to walk along with ones of different origins, different faiths. I want to build education and make sure that we have an educated nation. Education is not in the total sense of the Babylon system, but education in a holistic sense. I want to make sure that I'm a leader that persons want to serve without me asking. You understand? So I want to practice many of the things that Haile Selassie say in all of his speeches. I don't want to be any more categorized as anyone except the holistic terminology. Because as I said, many times I find we sideline each other daily by trying to see who is better and who is, who is doing the right and who is doing, and sometimes it's a lot of folly, brother. It's a lot of folly. I am very much not into talk shops. I want to be walking. I've always been walking. I've always been finding things to do that I think are needed in the community. Many times I have to do them on my own with the help of one or two other sisterins, but we continue to do, for example, here in St. Vincent, for the last 10 to 15 years, we've consistently been hosting African Liberation Day in Zion Hill, where I live, and other places around the community. We have been at the forefront of organizing the Emancipation Day activity. For many years, the Rastafari Working Committee, which I was a part of, hosted Black History Month activities. So these discussions are things I want to do. I want to make sure we're doing activities that to cater for the youth. So for many years, we had actually been working on a summer program for kids in the community of Zion Hill. I just basically had to kind of give it up because I went full mode into my profession. You know,
Yes.
before I was a little bit more flexible, but I have a
No.
more senior role at my job. So I haven't been able to give up like 2-3 weeks vacation at a time to
Yes.
take care of a summer program. So, you know, I mean, after one time, as the old people say, is another. But I've started since dealing with the youth. So we have a youth football. We started about September last year, which, you know, young boys in the community and girls, sorry. We meet every Saturday, 2 o'clock. We have football. The other person who was with me is a coach, is a Rasta man, you know, who tries his best to kind of instill a little bit of respect and
Yes.
behavior and discipline amongst the youth, differently to just giving them some football training, right?
Key. These things are key. These things are key. Um, I wanna stick a pin right there before we get into the works because I want to get into your works. But I realize the I is our first guest from Saint Vincent. We give the people a little description of what is the island of Saint Vincent. Give us a little history because my audience is global. We have people in Africa. This is the first time them ever hear about a Saint Vincent. So give us a background on Saint Vincent. Is it a flat island like Barbados? Is it mountain?
Um,
You know, give us
well,
the fullness.
well, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a chain of islands. We're actually 32 islands and keys that are located in the Eastern Caribbean. We're pretty close to Barbados. We're to the east of Barbados. We are to the north of Trinidad. Those are the bigger islands that persons may know of. So Trinidad is actually south of us. But we run a chain of islands from our main island down to Union Island. Union Island is more south and very much closer to Trinidad. We are 150 square miles. Not very big in size, but we normally say we little, but we talawa.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
we are not very big in size. Our main island is 133 square miles, and the other smaller islands together are about 17 square miles. Only of the 32 islands and keys that I told you about, only 9 of them are inhabited. The others are marine park, little uninhabited small islands,
Okay.
and basically we live mostly right now by tourism, by agriculture. We
Okay.
are not flat at all. We are
Yes.
very mountainous. And
Okay.
persons may have learned about us because just a few years ago, we had a volcanic eruption, which our volcano had not erupted for over 40 something years. The
Okay.
last eruption was in 1979. And then we had an eruption in 2029. Was it 2019? I'm forgetting now. 2019 or 2019? Yes, 2019. Um, so we've had this eruption. We had a lot of persons unsettled, had to move from their homes, etc. But since then, we've relocated. Some normalcy has returned to the island.
Okay.
We are very friendly, warm people.
Okay.
Um, our national dish is said to be roasted breadfruit and jackfish.
Okay.
We have lots of fruits, tropical fruits, mangoes, pineapples, passion fruit,
All right.
guavas, oranges. We grow a lot of our local food, our dashins, which are root crops, dashins, sweet potatoes, yams. We have lots of vegetables, all the vegetables you could think about, carrots, cabbage, tomatoes. You find them
Okay.
here on the island.
Nice.
We eat a lot of bananas. It's a popular fruit on the island, and we use a lot of the bananas in our soup, salads. Name it, roasted. We have a
Yeah.
lot of stuff with it. Um, we are mostly populated by Afro descendants. but we
Yes.
do have a mix of Portuguese descendants as
Okay.
well as we have just recently added a very small percentage of persons from Syria and Lebanon.
Okay.
We have some persons from Taiwan who live on the island. But generally, our largest percentage of the population are Afro descendants,
Yes.
Indian descendants, and Portuguese descendants.
Okay.
So we are mostly a melting pot. We do not have general racial tensions or anything. I think we amalgamate pretty well. We are a growing, developing nation, so we depend a lot on, as I said, the tourism dollar. I was actually once a tour guide and had to do some of this
Okay.
work with our visitors, and actually going to think of now producing what we're gonna call the Rasta tour, so
Okay.
persons can now very shortly with launch that persons can go online and book a tour and land in St. Vincent and be taken on a journey where they would learn about the Rastafari culture, they get to eat Rastafari food, being cooked in Yaba pots along the riverside, and just having a nice, wonderful, relaxing time. So that will
Uh,
be launched later on in the year,
yes.
but it's a preview. So that is St. Vincent
Let's
in a
reason
nutshell.
because I would love to connect there with the Rastafari indigenous village. Because
Mm-hmm.
they have a model in terms of education and tourism, for
Mm-hmm.
Rastafari. So there's things that they could probably share that you wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel,
Definitely.
in terms of materials and things like that. What about the wildlife of St. Vincent? What type of wildlife you have there?
Well, for sure, we don't have any dangerous animals. We do have iguanas, agoutis. Agouti look like a little rodent. Some persons say it looks like a possum.
Mhm.
We have manikou and mangoose.
Okay.
Mangoose as well looks a little bit like a rodent.
Yes.
We do have some snakes on the island, but no anacondas, no boa constrictors, nothing poisonous, venomous, or anything.
Okay.
Um, we do have a wide variety of birds, including our parrot, the Amazonia gildingi, which is our national bird. You would
Okay.
find we have egrets, you would find we have the whistling wobbler. Those are indigenous to the island. You may find some hawks.
Okay.
We have owls, etc. So no dangerous species.
So you
We
can
do
free
have
up in the
open.
bush. You can free up in the bush in St. Vincent.
You can free up in the bush. You can free up in the bush. You don't have to worry about any poisonous snakes. You don't have to worry about any poisonous spiders, anything of that nature. You know what I mean? The worst you may get some bites from the mosquitoes. And very, very important, we do not have malaria on the island.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
it's nothing to worry about along that line. The worst you can get is dengue fever. We do
Yes.
have outbreaks from time to time, but we quickly treat you with some papa bush, and that's one of the things to get your platelets back up,
Yeah.
and just get you
Good.
going.
Good. So do you have any monkeys on the island?
No, we don't. We don't have any
Okay.
monkeys on the island.
Yes, because I just learned that Nevos have a monkey problem. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
we
I
actually have them on strict control because they say when they start breeding, it's almost impossible to control them, and they
yes,
do damage a lot of the farmers' crops. So
yes,
currently, naturally to our island, there are no monkeys. I know when I was a girl, there
yes.
was a neighbor in my vicinity had a monkey in a cage, but that
Okay.
was probably 30, 40 years ago, and I haven't seen a monkey since that particular monkey.
Well, give thanks, give thanks. Talk to us, because the I is an accountant by profession. Talk to us
Hmm.
about your journey. How did you become an accountant? And this is a channel that we advocate business because we see His Majesty Rastafari was a businessman, Empress Menen was a businesswoman. So we promote business on this channel and social enterprise, meaning that let the business profits fuel the mission. We have to build a business economy among Rastafari. So every business need an accountant or CFO, chief financial officer, someone to talk about the book. So seeing that is the profession, talk to us about your journey to becoming an accountant and what an accountant does and the importance of being an accountant.
So actually, from early when I started secondary school, the girls' high school, I thought I had an inclination to be a doctor. Then I realized that I had a slight fear of blood. So I was like, no, 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 that won't work at all because you can't be wanting to be a doctor and be scared of blood. So I quickly dropped that thought. But I come from a father who had always pushed on us from a very, very early age that you always have to be independent. So he always wanted us to be entrepreneurs. So from a very early age as well, my dad, who lived in the US, whenever he came home, he would have us, he would send stuff for us as children. For example, he would normally sell like 3 pairs of shoes or 5 pairs of shoes. And when he sent those shoes, he would say, he would send one too big, one your size, one too small. When he send candies, he sent bottles and bottles of candies. He said, you're going to eat just as much candy as you can eat, and you're going to sell the other candies. He always wanted us, to try to sell, to do some sort of business. So from very early, he opened a disco. He bought a building, and it was a disco, and they can't go back in the past to arrest me now. But we used to actually run the bar, myself and my sister, and we were big for our ages. So when we were 15, we looked like we were 20 because I was always big bodied and very mature because my father spoke to us not as kids, but as he wants us to do this, and he would explain it to us and allow us to go and do it. So from very early, I had the opportunity to be running the nightclub, collecting the money, depositing the money, dealing with the money, stocking up the bar, checking off the drinks, making sure it was right, you know what I mean? Buying up and stuff like that. My sister and my mom was there as guidance, but we were the ones who were basically doing it. Go to the place, order the drinks, have them drop them off, etc., etc. So after we came out of high school, I was always doing something, some little hustle. My father would always be selling stuff. I'm selling T-shirts, I'm selling clothes, I was always into this selling. So after I finished A-level college, wasn't doing much, started the journey of Rastafari. My father had a building in the capital city, and I started my first Ital shop, right? And then started doing Ital there, started, depositing. I went into some training for small business loan, got a small business loan. And actually, because of my knowledge at that time of accounting, they actually hired me to teach the other students. I didn't even go off to study as yet, but they hired me to teach the other students accounting because I was good at accounting from the A-level levels. So I was there teaching the students who are actually applying for this micro business loan how to keep their books. You know what I mean? Basically giving basic bookkeeping. So I started looking for the opportunity. I had kind of staggered off because I was like, Rasta, born education, people was telling you all these things. And I was like, nah, Haile Selassie spoke highly of education. I'm not going to do that. So I continued and I looked and I earned a scholarship through the Unity Labour Party at that time. They were not in government, they were in opposition. Had the opportunity to go off to Cuba. When I went there, I was actually one of the oldest students because I was 26 when I started, and most of the students coming from Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, wherever, was like 18-year-old and 19-year-old. So I've gone there being all mature. Everybody used to call me like big sister, big mommy, auntie. Everybody gravitated because at that time already grown, as I said, having knowledge of Rastafari, knowing what life is about because, you would have had experiences doing all the parties and etc. So when I went to Cuba, it was just a matter of just being settled, knowing what I wanted, gravitating to just achieving those goals. So I did pretty well in my 5th year, because in Cuba it's 6 years of studies. In my 5th year, I got pregnant the first time and I had to leave to come home early to have my son. I was granted permission and then I went back off for the last day and finished. I had to finish early again because I got pregnant in the last year. Had to leave. I didn't get to do the graduation ceremony, but my documents were sent to me. later because I had to leave to come home to have this wonderful baby boy called Tafari.
Haile.
So I finished, graduated, came home, started looking for jobs as an accountant, and many times I was wondering if I didn't get the job because I didn't fit the bill of the accountant.
Yes,
This
yes,
well, my locks is much smaller now, but this big locked woman, um, who's always on the radio talking about Africa, who's always on the radio talking about Black history. So a lot of times passed by and I could not get a job as an accountant.
yes,
I actually started off at a firm, at a company, and after 11 months, they started to close down. I got fired.
yes.
I subsequently went on to be a translator because of my training in Cuba. So that's when I had a 4-year stint of being a translator where we were building the Argyle International Airport that we
Okay,
currently have. There was a lot of Cuban workers there, the engineers, etc. So I was assigned to the engineers to translate in meetings for them, translate for our staff to them, and
yes,
actually translate all documents, etc. So
okay,
upon finishing, the airport was finished. You know, our contracts were over. Started searching again.
yes,
Did civil society work again because that's one of the areas. Being a project coordinator for non-governmental organization projects. Then
okay,
finally, I landed a short gig doing accounting at a firm to get some practice. And one
yes,
of my colleagues who studied with me in Cuba, she actually opened a clinic.
okay,
And after I met her, um, she said she was looking for an accountant, and she was thinking that I studied agronomy. And I said, no, I studied accountant. So her business was growing, and she wanted me to come on board. I started there just as a part-time accountant, going in at nights after I finished my other accounting job in the day. And
yeah,
then I got the opportunity to go to Ghana, went
yeah,
off to Ghana. When I
okay,
came back, I quit my other accounting job and took up a full-time position with a company called Integrated Medical Care. It's a
okay,
medical clinic, so I work alongside doctors, general practitioners, some specialists, cardiologists, nephrologists.
mhm,
I did the accounting role for a little bit, then I was added the human resource role. So
okay,
I do most of the hiring along with the CEO. We both sit and hire all fire staff.
okay,
I subsequently was promoted to the chief operating officer, but I
okay,
still carry the role of the accountant and
okay,
human resource director. So I operate, multifunctional in the company.
yes,
Accounting role is not always simple. There's the basic accounting duties that you have to do.
yes,
Take care of the debtors, the creditors, do your income and expenditures monthly, do your annual financial reporting. But alongside that, I've had to assist with marketing the business, coming up with strategies to help us to meet our targets, our
yes,
projections for the year, what we want to accomplish in different departments. How do we get, your revenue up? How do you get your patients coming back to you? How do you keep satisfying your patients? Trying to see how we can get customer service improved,
mhm,
the whole works. So I just
yes,
only function daily as the accountant. I function as, helping to create strategies for the business to move forward. I do love the institution. I
yes,
think it offers a great service, and I'm passionately always trying to get patients, if they're ever sick, to choose our facility to come to. You know, I have
yes,
my sons popping in ever so often in. Yeah.
yeah,
So that's
we give
it. That's
thanks.
that's
No,
that's me
no,
in a nutshell
no,
as
we
it
give
relates to the
thanks
accounting.
because again, we want to talk about business on this platform, and the accountant is so critical. A lot of time we brush over that part, and
Definitely.
so I think that's where a lot of our businesses and institutions pop down when money
Right.
matters, in the Rastafari community. So the eye is a key in terms of consulting, and that's great to know that we have these type of assets in the community. All right,
We
so
do.
let's go into this Ital Fest now. I want to play. I want to play a video, and I want you to narrate what we're looking at here. Okay. Let me play this. I'm gonna play it on mute because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But what are we looking at? Tell us what we're looking at.
So, before I even get to telling you what we're looking at, I would
Yeah.
have loved to give you a little bit of history to how we got to where you're looking at.
All right.
But
Is your
yeah,
show, you know? A year show, you know? Go,
I
go,
I
go.
know I'm always a show stealer, you know. Every time I go, because I'm always been a co-host as well and a host,
Okay,
I kind of take
okay.
the program over.
No, we
So
love it.
the
We love
reality
it.
of it is, as I said to you, my brother, for years and years, I've always been trying to keep up the liberty. And I say and I'm not saying I as an egoistical person, but I have been trying to do it alone with the help basically of one other sister who's just the air under my wings to always, let me go, Deisha, let me go. If I say we're gonna do this, she'd say, yes, let's go.
Yes,
But
yes.
eventually I would have to put everything in place to get it go. But she gave me that supporting nudge all the time. Her name is Sister Takai.
Okay.
Now, last year in May, whenever I do activities, I have to depend on my sons. My now 19 and 18-year-old. They are the ones who have to pack up the car, put up the tent, take down the tent, pack the ice box, help me cook the food, help me sell the food, help me nail up the flags, help me do everything, bring down chairs. Oh, I forget this, go home for it, come back. So they have been the ones who are always there to kind of help me to do the activities. And it has become kind of tiring, and they're not as passionate as I am about the different activities of Rastafari. They
Yes,
will support their mom, but it's not their passion,
yes.
right? So I said, last day I was tired because sometimes you get the criticism, you get the naysayers, and like you ask yourself, what are you doing it for? Because at the end of the day, the criticisms are so much. People find all kind of fault. They find all kind of. They do nothing, but they always have something to say.
We know them.
So
We know them
I
well.
said to my sons, you know what? Mommy keep sometime have to dip into she little money to make sure the money there for the DJ, to make sure the money there for this. Somebody wanted $20 to just help you do a little thing. Somebody want this to do something else. I said, you know what? We're done. This is it. Mommy's just going to rest her hat down and she's not going to do anything else. So at that point, I had the African Liberation Day celebration on May 25th in my community, Sign Hill. And I had gotten a lot of books to distribute because I normally do like a book drive. So I get African conscious books for children ranging from ages 3 right up to adulthood, right? So I have all kind of books about Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Harriet Tubman, about all our great leaders, you know what I mean? About Haile Selassie, all the little books you can think about, you know what I mean? Affirmation books, etc. And I hand them out based on the age group for the kids.
Okay.
So this brother passing by, who I've known since he was a young man, and I was giving him some respect because our businesses were very close together. His grandparents had a business in the Middle Street in Kingstown, and my father's building where I had my Ital shop was in Middle Street. So he always would pass, he would hail, I would say hail and whatnot. So he stopped by the African Liberation Day. So he was just passing and he wanted to see what I was doing. So he turned back around and came back to the site. And he said, Ideisha, I want one activity and I want you to do this activity with me. I said, what kind of activity now? He said, I want to do Ital Fest. I see this on TV, on the internet, and I want to do it in St. Vincent. I say, Ital Fest. I don't say stop me doing nothing. You coming now. Hey, me sons, why just tell all you? I say, sons, why just tell all you? And sons say, Mommy, we done, we done, we done, we done, we done. We say we done. I said, no, let me listen to him, right? So I listening to him now and he say, Ideisha, I really want to do this Ital Fest. It could be great for the Rastas. It could be great for I and I. I say, okay. I say, I can't turn you down because, he's a brethren who I always see as a youth and he giving me a lot of respect as an elder to him. And
Yes.
so I say, okay, let me get this thing started. So I called together two brethren of mine who are like-minded and who I know would have support. Um, the first brethren was Patrick Jr. He's a singer. He's now in England for a
Yes.
short stint. And then I have another brethren, we call him GT, but he's also known as the Reggae. He's a DJ, right?
Sure.
So I brought them together, and the brother who I'm talking about who started the activity, his name is Devon. So
Okay.
Devon, GT, and I, and then we brought in another singer called Abuza and Devon's wife. So 6 of us decided just little after African liberation, the early June, that we're gonna plan for this activity called Ital Fest. We called together a meeting and we decided this is what we want to do, this is how we want to get it done. And we started looking for funding, message some government institutions, whatever. And we had enough funds to have Ital Fest royalty. So that was the first one we hosted last year. We had 33 vendors who signed on, persons who cook food, persons who do craft, persons who do cane juice, leather sandals, persons who do jewelry, persons who sell plants and seedlings, persons who sell sweet treats, cookies and vegan cookies and stuff, vegan cookies and cakes, and it was just a wonderful day. It was sunny. Then we had music from the brother GT, the reggae. He played 12 hours straight reggae. Reggae as in conscious reggae. No dub, no, just conscious straight. When I tell you some old school reggae, some modern reggae, some local reggae, some, he had the place blowing with all the vibes for the whole day. And as I said, everybody had a chance to sell. Everybody made a little money. We had the Minister of Finance actually pass through on that day, and they had given us some funds. So we got the opportunity for him to see the money that they gave us at work. And it was, as I said, it was a tremendous experience because for that first occasion, we had about 2,000 persons passing through the activity. And 2,000 persons from a population of 110,000 persons in a Rasta activity is not a bad look at all. Right? So it was greatly received. I mean, all the comments we got after that was why is just one day? Why is not more days? We actually were overwhelmed. So most of us who were cooking food actually ran out of food. So persons who came wasn't able to they might have get a little sandwich, a little fries, but they weren't able to get a meal. So we made sure that, we wasn't going to make that same mistake twice.
Okay.
So this year, the mastermind behind of it all is Brother Devon. He comes up with the team, the concept, the ideas, and we trash them out. But
So stick a pin because this is important. The brethren Devon, he does not identify as Rastafari, correct?
He does. He says that all his life, and even at Ital Fest Unity, he doesn't have locks, if that's what you mean. He does not have locks. But he just recently cut his locks. He had locks last year, Ital Fest. All up in this year, he cut his locks.
Okay.
But what his gravitation is that as a youth, he remembered the races were the persons who kept the youth from stepping into violence and crime.
Okay.
He had that respect because he said, growing up, when you are youth in the ghetto and you go and sit down wrong a Rasta man, is always positive energy.
Yes.
It's always positive energy. It's not about violence. It's not about gun. It's not about crime. So when the youth gravitate around the races and burn a spliff, it was always positivity. And I mean, it was awakening for this Ital Fest when he said so on the stage. He said that many of the races now have lost that vibe to keep the youths in check. You understand? Because the youths were gravitating to the races and the races would keep them with a lot of love and a lot of fire and a lot of not into the violence. But because many of us, and what he said is so truthful, many of us have gravitated to just doing our daily chores, doing our job, going home, sticking in the corner. We don't have time for the youths on the block because we busy lifing. We busy lifing. You know, we just doing what we have to do to survive, and we forget that we really have to live up a little bit more for the creed. You know, the infants have to be cared for, the elderly have to be cared for. You know, so because we have kind of neglected some of our functions, many of the youths now have the opportunity to turn to crime and violence, right? And he was just sharing that his whole gravitation as a youth growing up, it was always to this positive image of Rastafari. And he always find that our role, we many times we do things that kind of shabby. You know what I mean? And if we are kings and queens, we're not shabby people. You understand? So the first impact of Ital Fest royalty last year was to showcase our royalty. So we had an activity where we had, you know what I mean, those high pitched tents, you know what I mean, wrap up with ice, gold and green all around the stage, ice, gold and green lights, you know, that kind of way. Official, nano old rusty tent, nano holy thing, you know what I mean? Proper functional thing. And we made sure encourage persons then was to make sure that they have everything to a standard. This year we encourage persons to have the food warmers, you know what I mean? They have the hand gloves, the health certificates, make sure that they have the products labeled. You understand? Try to get vendors to have business cards. Step up the thing. Step it up. And that's what we want to do every year. Carry it to a next level. You know what I mean? So when persons come, you have bags that you could buy packaged nicely. You have your earrings. You could buy them in a nice gift box if you want to take them and give as a gift. But carry everything to the next level. So, you know, the brother for me, I would say always is that, you know, he has a wonderful heart. He has the direction and focus of bringing Rastafari and Ital liberty to the world, showing that Rastafari have a beautiful culture. We love our royal features. You know what I mean? We show respect and love to all things, all persons. You come around us, it's love and respect. If you disrespect, we're going to have to put you in check. You understand? So he has been the core driving force. And as he tells me sometimes, Disha, just be the wing under my wings. You know what I mean? Let me sow, let me bring things how I vision, because he has a very good vision of how he wanted, you know. Even the setup, because I don't know if you get to look through some of the videos, the little huts and them painted up, you know, with the Rasta colors on them. We asked each country to
look real well put together, you know.
Very well. So if you want to roll the video now so that I can go through, you know, some of the things that were happening, you know. So this year for Ital Fest, we said it's Ital Fest Unity, creating Ital Paradise. So the vibes behind it is that we reached out to certain persons who are Ital chef in and around the region who have great Ital followings. You know, so this brother peeling some cane, so you had cane juice live, person were buying cane in bag, that's Suriname, you know. That's the brother Devon Stall with his Empress just passed there. We had Suriname in the house. We had Jamaica. This is Chef Vita from Jamaica, O'Shane Warren. We had Ital is Vital from Trinidad. We had the Yard Food Kitchen from Tobago. We had Sofresco Deli from Tobago. We have Bobby there, the fruits man. He sells a lot of fruits on a daily basis. This brother had some unique craft made from the ashes from the volcano, right? So he has been able to store some ash. That's my cousin Rasta from Trinidad. He does leather craft. So we had Sister Angie with all her different handmade bags. Those were St. Lucia in the orange t-shirts. Ital Vital from St. Lucia. That's Brother Camo and Sister Eve. She's a member of the Ethiopian World Federation, and Camo is a Rastafari brother. They both have a business in St. Lucia. And, you know, we had, as I said, Ital Vital from Trinidad. That's a family-run business. And we also had Ital Mama there from Suriname. Large following on social media. So we invited her to participate. And the other person who you didn't see in the video was Sister Ashiba and Jarudi. who came from Barbados. And I tell you, Sister Sheba, as soon as they got set up, there was a line waiting on them. The people were very anxious because we did a lot of promotion on the
Yes.
local radio station and also on a internet radio called Bay Hill News Network. We were on our local Hot 97 FM. We were on Boom radio station as well. And a lot of the persons, because of the following those stations had came out, a lot of the persons actually loved Ital Fest last year and were looking forward to coming on this year. We got some coverage from another local station called WeFM. So all of the listeners from these stations, I think, came out to support the activity and support our foreign visitors, you know. But really and truly, everybody, I think by 6:30-ish, although our activity was scheduled from 8 to 8 p.m., we did run to about 9 o'clock. But by 6:30, most of the vendors had sold out all the food. You know, what they only had was like sandwiches. Some persons had a little wrap, a little dal pre, a little burger, you know. But, you know, a lot of people were still coming, wanted food, you know, wanted soup, wanted, you know, the rice. And, you know, somebody asked, oh, you ain't had no traditional item. So I said, well, you know, what's your version of traditional ital? Because traditional ital for different people is different things.
Yes, yes.
Because what I traditionally cook in my home is a balance of, you know, your starches, your proteins, and your vegetables. So traditional ital for some people, we have a very popular italist here who cooks up a one pot. So he cooks up rice with the carrots and the callaloo and the chunks and the vegetables, everything like in a one pot. And sometimes the rice still have like a little sauce in it. And over the years, he has been a very prominent business here locally. So when people think about ital, they kind of only think about his style of ital. You understand? But my style of ital could be like a fried rice with a 5 beans, stew, stir-fried tofu, stew callaloo, and salad. You understand? Because that's my type of food that I cook. So it was, you know, we were able to showcase different types of ital.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And, you know, many of the vendors were cooking with coconut oil. You know, they're using the coconut oil to fry. So it was really, we had coconut water, you had cane juice. It's the first time I actually had Marby sweetened with cane juice instead of sugar. You know, and it had a really wonderful taste, you know, and I could have tasted the spice in it. You know what I mean? So it was really, really good. And the cane juice, you know, the cane juice had a kick to it, eh? So it was really nice. And those are the kind of things, you know, we had aloo pie. It had some, you know, some Trinidad spicy stuff. You know, it was really wonderful. Everybody thus far has said it was a wonderful event. You know what I mean? And we must thank, you know, the sponsors who came on board, you know, through the government, through the different government agencies, local business houses who put their trust in us. And we made sure to let them know that this isn't an activity that we geared towards making profit. Because last year, members of the group, we didn't make anything. We were not paid anything. What we got paid from is what we did as vendors. So on the day of Ital Fest, Ideisha, the member of Ital Fest promotion, took off the Ital Fest promotion cap and she put on the GTM cap, which is the Jafari, Tafari and Mikhail's. That's the name of my business. So I put on that cap and I started to cook up my food and fry up my burger and make my fries and make my juices. And that's how I made some money on the day. You know, so we don't charge anybody for selling. So there's no vendor's fee. We don't charge anybody for coming in. There's no admission. So it's a completely free event. You
So
come in, the kids.
it's all paid for by the sponsorship.
It's all paid for by the sponsorship. Yeah.
I see Rasta Fest just did the same model in Toronto. So something that's happening. But one of the things I want to give a little bit of push forward is you say that the team didn't get paid almost as a badge of honor. I want to stop that because they didn't get paid for the organizing work. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that
staff.
sorry, it wasn't as just saying it as a badge of honor.
Yes.
It's that we do not intend to continue to carry on this work without being compensated.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
at least in the
That's all.
initial stages, it was a sacrifice on all of our behalves.
Yes.
And it's also to let the sponsors know that we're not using your sponsorship money to pay
Yes.
ourselves, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
what we intend to do, and we did have some this year, but it came in a bit late, is do memorabilias. So
Yes.
we still have water bottles, and we just actually got our tote bags, that
Right.
says Ital Fest, and we have some keychains that
Yeah.
sell Ital Fest, and those are what we would continue to sell so that we can, excuse me, that we can earn some sort of income from the
Yes.
activity.
And make it sustainable because we don't want when the item are not here, Ital Fest is gone, So the item need budget and staff. These are the two buzzwords of the Lion Voice Network. I want us to get used to these words, family, as we transition from survival to the industrialization of Rastafari. Budget and staff. Anyone not talking these two words to I have a problem because we need sustainability. I want the item to be paid and then you can hire young people to take it over and you
Definitely.
still get money. You know what I mean? And that is what we're trying to change, that perception as Rastafari, because a lot of people will say, yeah man, that good, them not take no money, but it's not sustainable if we're building institutions
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
So
we
we
can't.
we we
Yeah,
definitely making that step. That obviously it's a promotion company, and we would like to see it grow from strength to strength. And we actually thinking of taking this Ital Fest, not just from St. Vincent. So we can have Ital Fest St. Lucia. We have Ital Fest Bahamas, Ital Fest. For the other countries that do have it already, then that's fine. They continue to grow and we could continue to support and even thinking of participating, for example, in the Ital Fest in Jamaica. Currently, one of the members who came up from Trinidad and Tobago actually organizes an Ital Fest in Trinidad. So they're a little ahead of us. They completed their second one earlier up in March, and they're scheduled to have their third annual Ital Fest, Ital Food Festival in Trinidad in March next year. And we're thinking strongly that we would participate
yeah.
as a delegation from St. Vincent. But
Um,
these are ways as well we would continue to kind of push the agenda to make sure that it's profitable for the persons who participate and who put in the work. Because if I tell you, brother, it is work. I actually had to take some days off from from vacation to be able to take care of the driving up and down, dropping people off, picking people up, taking people shopping, doing the run and round, collecting pots and pans, carrying it here, taking them back. So it has been a tremendous, tremendous task. And many times you do get the little praise here and there, but sometimes a hundred or 200 or 300 or 2,000 is also good forms of praise.
tens of thousands, tens of
Tens
thousands.
of thousands, tens of thousands as well.
Yeah, man. Break the chain. The Lion of Judah has prevailed. One of the things I wanted to say to the eye, after commend the eye, of course, for the work, is that in Jamaica, we are currently developing a ITAL certification standard. The organizers of the ITAL Fest in Jamaica, the Rastafari community, wasn't involved, but they did get approached and negotiations had started. It didn't work out. But one of the things that we are doing is to create a standard, because this ITAL is an intellectual property that belongs to the global Rastafari family. It came from Jamaica, but we have to centralize because it is a feeding tree for the whole community. So we want to make sure that there's a standard, even what is ITA, because a lot of food that's selling in the market are fertilizer, pesticides and thing, but people might still call it ITA. So we through Dr. Michelle, big up Dr. Michelle, who runs the ganja lab at the University of the West Indies, has drafted a technical standard. We're doing some work around it now. But this is something that we definitely would be reaching out to the IDEM and the ones in Trinidad and the other islands, that we can come to the table and centralize these efforts, you know what I mean? And just ensure that as Rastafari globally, because we want to roll this out on the continent as well, you know, that we are in control of Ital. And because the whole world, when we say Ital is higher than organic, because organic, they can use blood meal, bone, all kind of thing where we don't use as Rastafari people, you know. So Ital is it's you know, just like how the Jews have kosher and halal, we're saying Ital is a whole way of life, from the seed going to grow, the intention, how we treat the seed, how we nurture Mother Earth, the connection, the soil, you know what I mean, the soil quality, so how it's transported, how it's stored, how it's bubbled, you know what I mean. So it's a whole thing that we are creating. So I definitely am going to keep in touch with the eye and the team, so that we can bring the eye into these reasonings and we can consolidate this identity.
Definitely.
You know, so
Definitely.
I just wanted to state that. Talk to I about the support of the wider Saint Vincent Rastafari community. Did the Rastafari community as a whole support in Saint Vincent? I know sometimes when you have a smaller group of ones, even though they're Rastafari, sometimes you don't get that wider support initially, you know. I say initially because I know a long time we have tried this system. So
I know.
talk to us.
I would say definitely from the first day we hosted the event, it was overwhelming support in two ways. The vendors who opted to be a part. I mean, few of them we invited, but few of them, asked to be a part once they heard about it. Came out and sell their food and, sell their craft and, participated in general. So that was great. At the activity itself, from the first year, the support of, Ras's YNC for months and maybe years were there because persons were happy to have an activity where they can come out to. And I think even this year, it was even better. And for some reason, I don't know, there were few Rasses who were probably a bit apprehensive and didn't know that they could be a part. They were probably waiting for you to come and ask every single Rasta, "Oh, you want to come sell? You want to come sell?" But we had put the call out there, and we keep saying if vendors and people who are non-Rasses would call me wanting to be a part. "Oh, I have some herbal medicine I want to sell. Oh, I have some craft made from ashes I want to sell." Whereas Rasses who are selling stuff that Rastafari use and that Ital were hesitating to call or to ask.
Yes.
So, we have to make it clearer that it's open invitation to all Rasses or Italists.
Yes.
Whoever you're producing organic, healthy food, you're producing craft, you're producing honey, you're producing herbal wines. You understand? You can be a part. So I would say the support on both occasions thus far. This year was even bigger than last year. More Rasses came out, more persons came out. And one of the sweetest things, there were many persons who came out who are not Rasses, who made sure they had on the little African print, the little head tie up, and you know what I mean? Dressing appropriately as well. I really didn't see much slack or vulgar dressing that you may see at parties and so on. Most persons who came out were modestly dressed and with that respect because they know what Rastafari is about. I mean, there were one or two shots here and there, which persons were free.
Yes.
But all in all, I would say that it was well received. I got one very constructive criticism.
Yes.
A lady who came and she bought an Ital and she was one who was saying, I want a traditional Ital like the cook-up. So I say, well, I didn't have the traditional Ital as you were saying it, but I have my traditional Ital, and I told her what I had and she said what she wanted. It was for her mom. After she was finished, she said, I miss some of the earth tones in your color scheme. Because our thing this year was African Ital Fest Unity. And
Yes.
we were just looking at the Rastafari colors. So
Yes.
everything, the tents were adorned with ice gold and green and black. The stage was ice gold and green and black. The lights was ice gold and green and black. The huts that were painted were ice gold and green. So
Yes.
she was saying we should have some brown and some beige and some
Yeah.
fair comment. And then she also said that she think that we should have had a session where some daughter could have been teaching other daughters, non-races, how to tie their hair. Which I
Oh,
definitely think it would be taken on for next year because some of them may want to try it but really don't know how to do it. So
yes.
she said that it would have been a good session to
Yes.
have something like that because we had acupuncture, we had herbal medicine, we had food, we had arts, we had craft, we had face painting, but we didn't think of the head tying, and it is
Oh,
it is something that we definitely could look forward to for next year, trying to find somebody who's good and creative at it and, could sit and show persons with a few different pieces of wrap how they can actually do their hair. So we look at it for next year. But
beautiful.
as I
Beautiful.
said, all in all, I mean, even at a point I had a mixed sense of emotion from the first one and even into the second one, where I felt a little bit thrown back because for years, what we achieved in Ital Fest last year and this year is what I've been working for to achieve for many, many years.
Wow.
With my Rastafari summer program, just getting the Rasses out. Now
Yes.
that we're getting you out. So this is where myself and my brother Devon maybe differed a bit. His
Yes.
thing is about Ital Fest, an annual thing, great, grand thing. My
Yes.
thing is about Ital every day.
Haile.
So I have to now make sure that we have activities, discussions, whatever it is that we can be out every day, every month. We can be at the issues. We can, be there to protect each other. We can be
Yes.
there discussing food sovereignty. We can be there discussing schooling for our children. Because there's many things that we're lacking and we falling behind on. And as
Yes.
I'm saying, this is liberty. Ital Fest is a 1 day activity, but my
That,
life is an everyday activity.
that
So
is it.
I want the Ital Fest vibes to be built in or drowned in every day. That
Yes.
persons can know where they can find Ital. They know where they can find good fruits. They know where
Yes.
they can call on you to have a discussion about changing the diet, about living better, about eating better, about what books they can read, about where they can find the books. Because right now, if I talk in all this big talk about Rasta, about consciousness, and I tell somebody, oh, go on Amazon, because that's where they're gonna have to go, because we don't have an Afrocentric bookstore. You
Wow.
understand? So we talk any talk, but then we can't manifest the works in its totality. You know that
See,
kind of way? So this is things we have to step to. We want to tell people to eat healthier food, but we know the food that we import sometimes coming from different parts of the world, and I'm not going to knock anybody, but it's filled with, as you rightfully say, pesticides, herbicides, the organically, the GMOs. You understand? So again, we have to make sure that we have the food. We're telling people to eat healthy. What are the healthy foods? Why eat this food? Just
yes.
today, I went taking Sister Sheba on a farm, and oh my gosh, it's something similar to parsley.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister on the farm was telling me it looks a bit like watercress. She was telling me this has as much omega-3 as fish oil and fish. And I'm like, I always know they say that for vegans, for Italists, one of our deficiencies is be omega-3. So how is it now that this herb here, and I never is the first today I hearing about it, that this plant, this green plant that growing up like a wild plant, actually has a good bit of omega-3.
Okay.
You know, I charge up my phone, brother, and I know you may have a few more questions. I have 5 minutes left on my phone. So I
Okay.
want you to ask before I lose power.
Okay. Well, give thanks for the heads up. How many people do you think came through? You said 2,000 the first year. How many people this year? And then tell us.
I am definitely think we double that number.
Give
I am
thanks.
definitely thinking, and what I observed this year is that persons stayed around more for longer periods, and we had a constant flow of people.
Give
So
thanks.
persons came, they got their food. Some persons, they could find a seat, they sat and eat. And that's also one of the things we have to work on again, a bigger and better seating area for persons. Because some persons didn't want to go, but we didn't have enough seating. So it's like, I don't want to stand up and eat, you know what I mean? I prefer just go in my car, go home or whatever. So we have to work on more seating to accommodate that people could sit and eat. And when they don't eat now, they could lie a little bit more, they could walk around, you know? So I would say we had about 4,000 and up persons because, as I say, it was constant, and each vendor sold off the food. You know, I probably sold about 150 in all that I had to sell, and then you had 50 something vendors.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Some selling food, some
Whole heap
selling
of food,
crafts, some selling
whole heap of food.
whole heap of food, whole heap of food selling.
I saw something that the Prime Minister was there.
He
Talk
was.
about that and tell us about your Prime Minister, because we hear about this man go Shashamani, me hear this, that. How is he to the Rastafari community in a real life?
Well, that at this point it's a bit of a mixed emotion to state how I feel as it relates to the Prime Minister. I would say the honest truth. But I would speak directly to the issue of Ital Fest.
Yes.
My personal position as it relates to the Prime Minister may not be the best.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
But as it relates to Ital Fest and the support of the government and the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, which is Camilo Gonzalez, from last year when he came, he gave us some support and he came to the activity, and he saw how good it was, and how well received it was by the public from multiple reasons. A full day of fun, clean fun, no alcohol selling, no alcohol drinking, bouncing castle, trampoline for the kids, face painting, a free area that they could just run up and down and enjoy. Mommy, daddy, grandparents came out, and he saw that. And I went close to him and whisper, well, it will have big way up even better this year, and truth said, himself, through the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, did an amazing job in helping us. But let me not say amazing yet, because I want them to do better next year. Did a good job. Did a good job of giving us some support. We got support from the Ministry of Finance. We got support from the National Lotteries Authority, from the Ministry of Culture, from the National Properties Limited, from the Port Authority. Those are Housing and Land Development Corporation. Those are government agencies, all that we got some support from. And the Prime Minister himself passed through on the day, as well as the Minister of Finance passed through, ex-Minister of Culture was there, permanent secretaries of different departments were there. And the Prime Minister, being his usual fun and jolly self, moved through the crowds. He visited, the regional stars, had conversations and dialogue with him, and interacted with the public in a very, very, very humble way. So, a lot of persons are, happy about that, happy about seeing him there, happy about his participation. Many persons would not have possibly known the support that we got from them, although we were seeing it on some of the mediums, the quantum of the support we never disclosed. But we're very happy to say that, they supported us tremendously, and without their support, there would have been no Ital Fest 25. So, we gave thanks. The funds went towards assisting us, purchasing the airfares for persons from the region to come in, for paying for the accommodations, to assist in paying for, the lighting and the tents and so on, which are all sizable funds, So, we had a budget of $109,000. after cutting back, some things that we wanted to accomplish, we didn't get to do them. After cutting back a little bit, I think our budget reached about 75,000, which we were able to make and from our sponsors, collect from our sponsors, and at least foot all of the expenses that we have incurred.
Mighty.
At the end of it, we do have a few outstanding bills that sometimes we get covered.
Yes. The phone battery is leaving us. Is that what's happening? She did give us a warning that the phone battery was about to seal up, and now it flipped her sideways. So, but it's a beautiful, beautiful sound. We do give thanks. I'll see if she's able to come forward. But again, I don't want us to look at this in a vacuum. We saw in St. Croix the government declare Rastafari Day. We saw in Jamaica, leading up to an election that now has been called, the government granting plots of land, signing land transfer papers. The title still hasn't been issued. We saw in Toronto, the mayor of Toronto endorsing Fest, the city of Toronto also giving contributions to the festival. The provincial government, the federal government also supporting the festival. Now we're seeing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the government also giving significant funds to finance the festival. Why is it? Is it because Rastafari people are just friendly people? Haile?
I'm so sorry that my battery died.
No problem.
So I had to choose a different.
No problem. It's not as bright. We can hear the eye. We can see the.
I'm apologizing to our listeners and viewers.
No problem. No problem. But I was saying that,
right.
We were just.
As I said.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. There's a bit of a delay. I'm just saying that we're very grateful for the support that we got from all our sponsors, because without our sponsors on this activity, it would not have been possible. So we give thanks to the government, the different departments, the different business houses who supported us, and a few of the Rastafari brothers and sisters who did as well. But I must say that as a collective of people, and I'm not pointing fingers, because there's a saying, when you point a finger, there's generally 4 pointing back at you. So I'm not pointing a finger at anyone. But I'm saying that I am exhausted of us being a people with limited resources. I'm exhausted with us being a people who always do not have. So there are efforts that we need to work our utmost best on trying to make sure that actually who we say we are, we are. We are kings and queens, sons and daughters of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, who was a king of kings.
Haile.
And we need to step it up. We need to see how we can develop cooperatives for cooperative economics. Marcus Garvey spoke about that. Haile Selassie spoke about that. We need to see how we can use the persons who we have, our human resources, to make sure that we push our way forward. We need to make sure that we at the tables, that whenever things are being discussed, our voices are heard, our positions are listened to. And when the doors are not open to us, we have to kick them in. We have to make sure that we are there to say, this is what I want, this is what we need, this is what we definitely are looking forward and expecting from you as citizens of a country where we live, where we pay taxes. We need to make sure that we are being taken care of. And we need some serious collective security. For the last 10 or 15 years, I've known racists who've died, who had nobody to look out for them. It had a Rastaman who actually died from malnutrition. How can we still, in 2025, be living as persons who do not have our basic needs? How can we be living as people who we are not seeing the need to actually put the creed into full practice?
Mm.
So it's a call, as I am saying, my focus in developing or assisting to develop Ital Fest with my loving brother Devon, who has a aim and a mission of highlighting the Rastafari culture to the world. My aim and mission is that the Rastafari culture is not a one day. Our liberty is an everyday
Haile,
liberty.
Haile.
And in order for us to make those steps and be, that Rasta man who would keep guiding the youth, that Rasta woman who will be guiding the sisters, we have to have serious internal reflections.
Haile.
I definitely these last few days there's a drive and a calling inside of me to organize a national reasoning where we come together, all mansions, and really discuss where
Yes,
we are today.
serious
And
thing.
I think it's something that needs to be done in many of our regions. I am seeing now, as I'm saying, I'm 50 years old. 30 years ago, I was a young daughter now in the strad. No, I am not seeing young daughters in the strad. I'm not seeing any 20-year-olds.
No,
I'm not seeing who I'm
worldwide,
seeing is the
worldwide.
60-year-old and the 70-year-old and the 50-year-old and maybe some 40-year-old. But I'm
Yes,
not seeing even a lot of the younger dreads, they're not having Rastafari daughters.
no,
And it is a serious implication for our longevity and our future. And if we don't see these as reasons why we should meet and discuss where we are, what we're doing, how we're moving forward, because I have never seen the Rastafari tradition as an individualistic trad.
no.
We all have our individual parts, but we are still supposed to be walking, holding our brothers and sisters' hand,
Collective.
playing a part ahead. If we continue to just walk the trod on an individualistic path, then we'd have 15 million roads. But
Yeah.
really and truly, we need one road to to salvation. We need one road to togetherness. We need one road to a conscious living.
The I speaking to the choir. Building this channel, and we're close to 50,000 subscribers, but we only have 41 people that contribute monthly. And every day I get calls from Rastafari from around the world, tell me how much they love what we're doing and the works and don't stop. But I mean, to contribute so that we can scale, because we don't want to stay doing this from our house. We're trying to build a world class media operation.
I know.
But I mean, we have to just do the work and the blessing will come. But it's the reason I don't take it personal, because the reason is that everybody is treading Rastafari for themselves, and we have not learned to come together to harness that power of the collective. You know what I mean? Collective security is not just a phrase; it is the power. You know what I mean? The divine power that rests within the people. When we say I and I, to harness that I and I, we have to come together and make that power felt. So I fully understand. Is the I a part of the CRO, or is there a CRO organization in St. Vincent?
Many years ago, we had established a unit. We had established a branch here, basically in Silvis. Now we did some good works. As I said, we started the African Black History Month celebration here in St. Vincent, and we're part of basically doing a lot of the unity work. Basically, um, I think after I went off to study, I don't want to take blame, but it kind of dwindled off because my business place was kind of one of the meeting grounds.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's where and after I went off, I was leaving my mother to run it and a friend. And I didn't want the extra burden on them. So I basically told them, we have to find somewhere else together because I can't leave the light bill on mommy and this and that and that. But, I think it's needed right now. I still keep up with many of the going ons with the CRO. I'm still a member in the group chat. I'm an individual member, but collectively here in SVG, we don't have a unit. We don't have a branch.
Yes.
What
So
is
that
basically functional is just the Nyabingi house. The 12 tribe meets regularly, and there's a few Bobo brothers, but basically they don't have a meeting place per se, right?
so
So
that I think that could be the focus of the meeting is bringing all of those ones together, so that they
definitely,
can join with the CRO, because that is one thing I know. Even in Jamaica, they have the Rastafari Mansion and organization, and the plan is to connect with the CRO. So we just centralize, and we don't reinvent the wheel. We don't need to reinvent no wheels right now. We just need to come together and strengthen what's already been there, and what's
true.
happening. So I would say if the item have that national meeting, that should be one of the agenda items, is how the item can form together so that they can be active, become active, or active branch of the CRO. Because even when we roll out this ITAL standard, there's opportunity for us all to generate revenue. You know what I mean? And there's a lot more intellectual property and other things that if we're organized, the individual islands will benefit from the marketing that takes place globally. You know what I mean? And all of us can be set up in a way that we are working together. So that is the hope and the aspiration.
Definitely.
And I know that the eye is a key one. Just listening to the eye, I know why Sister Aishiba give I the eye link right now. That is a key.
I was telling her today, I say, "Oh, you just giving out my number like that? You just give, oh no, the brethren told me he wanted to find out about Ital Fest." And I said, "Well, you have to talk to Ideisha." So she was just like, "It's no problem."
Well, now the world is aware, and I want that to help us to spread the word about the Lion Voice Network in Saint Vincent.
Definitely,
Because
definitely. I would add it.
what we're doing with this platform is we're reigniting that spark in the movement. Because as the I say, that spark kind of get dim, and the youths them, because the youths them
Yeah.
are online. The youths them are online now. So I built this platform because I said youths are not sitting with an elder right now, no 2-3 hour to listen to no testimony. But the youth them will watch a podcast, they will listen to something, you know what I mean? They will engage
Yeah.
in online space. So we have to, as Rastafari, that authentic Rastafari reason, it has to be online as well, you know what I mean? So this is
True.
what we have put online, and you can see when you start go through the interviews that I will
I've
see.
seen. I would
Yeah, man.
start. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
definitely
You will
looking at
see
and sharing it.
so much reasoning, and I'm gonna rely on the eye to refer other elders in Saint Vincent that we can interview, so we can bring Saint.
Definitely, I am really thinking that you need to interview at least one from each mansion. So I
Yes,
would
yes,
create the linkages this
yeah, man.
upcoming week and see where you go. I'm also thinking of a young Rastafari brother who has born a Rasta and growing and still holding form. Who is good to hear his story from a youth who
Yes,
has gone through different trials and tribulation and still holding on to Rastafari. And it's just recently, he's always vocal, but he has made his debut speech when we were, hands off President Abraham Traore. He actually did a wonderful presentation, and I was so impressed. Although I know he's always had it in him, but to hear him speak publicly at the rally, did prepare his own nice little speech. It was heartwarming to know that we still have some fight in us. So I am really happy that that possibly he can come on this program and share some of his thoughts and other
definitely.
persons as well. There's some other sisters who many of our sisters are a bit shy, but I guess one of the future discussion I can be your co-host and I can bring
Yes,
them on and
yes.
have them at
We love
least
that.
share
I
their
love
stories, you
I love
know.
a co-host. I love a co-host. So
Yeah, yeah.
really
So
can do
we
that.
could do like a panel discussion and have them share their stories of Rasta women, you know, how long they've been in this trad and, you know, what kept them going and, you know, what are the strengths and the weaknesses they see in the movement. And, you know, let's see how we can get them to some of their
Yeah.
views and see how we could move forward.
The other thing I would tell you is that we have the most Rastafari woman testimonies of any platform on the planet. You know, yes,
I can
we have.
imagine.
Yeah, the month of March we do all Rastafari sistering all month. You know, and we've
Okay,
been
okay.
doing that for a couple of years now. But we have the most. It's not even close. You know, we have Rastafari sistering from all over the earth. So that I will get to hear from a lot of different sisters in their testimony, how they cite His Majesty. Um, before we go, because we're gonna seal up shortly, I wanted to ask the as an older sister, because offline, the I said, boy, I'm go out of spring and you know, my locks them wet, but me have to wrap up my natty, you know what I mean? And right now, when I reason with young sisters, a lot of them don't cover their locks, a lot of them would wear a pants, a lot of them would, wearing some type of revealing clothing and say, boy, if they don't dress that way, the man them don't pay them no mind. And as an older sister, what do you say to young sister in this time? These young sisters coming up and interested in the church. How important, and I heard Muta Bonafide at Rasta Fest said the dress is very important. But as a sister, how do you address the younger sister them coming up now?
I firstly must say the Rastafari trad, you have to learn what it is, right? And some things I see and would consider traditional, whereas there's some things I see are becoming more modern. Now, I came through the tradition where the head of the woman is to be covered. And even the early part of it, it was natural for me to do it. But there were times, for example, if I go to the river to wash my locks, I used to just rush and come out the water and then put on a turban on my head because the woman head is to be covered. But then again, that head covering with wet hair can give you a terrible cold. You
Yes.
understand? So I'm like, no, if I do go to the river while I'm driving my own vehicle, sometimes I may just drive home with my locks hanging because I want them to dry. But if you see me in public, I would be walking always with my head covered. I'm always dressed modestly. So
Yes.
I would put on skirts, tops.
Yes.
Recently, because I'm into football, I've left my home in a track pants because
Okay.
I'm trying to keep a little physical. So I
Yes.
drive my car and I get out and I do a little exercise with the kids. But
Yes.
again, it's not my ideal. I'm always uncomfortable. I do it, but I'm very uncomfortable because it's not my style of dress.
Yes.
Um, and if I do wear a pants, as I'm saying, it's always something that is not closed, that will show out my feminine attributes too much.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I respect the young sisters who are searching and remember that I was once at a stage where I was searching, and I would tell them to find themselves, dress comfortably, dress not to impress, but dress to cover your precious parts.
Haile.
Because as some persons often say, diamond, gold, pearls, minerals, they're not on the surface. They're
Uh,
very hidden and very protected. So when you have your diamonds and your pearls and your precious gems, you don't have to broadcast them to the world because they're really gifts for you and your counterpart, your king, to share. Now, recently, I was discussing the carnival and the nudity that we see in carnival. And a brother, a young friend of mine, suggested to me, your view is very warped because the African brothers and sisters have been walking around for centuries very naked. Some of them cover their bottom half and their breasts are left out in the open. There are even some tribes where the males, everything is out in the open.
Yes,
And
yes,
I would say to them that yes, that is also a side of our African people, right? But we
yes.
follow a king, queen. That wasn't their tradition.
No.
So I've never seen Selassie bareback walking around in a vest. I've never
Yes,
seen Selassie in a short pants. I've never
yes.
seen Empress with her breast out.
No.
You understand? So I've never seen Empress men in a mini. So whereas there are other African ethnicities, groupings that may dress like that, the king and queen I hold as my examples do not dress like that. So
Unconquered.
again, who am I following? Yes, so yes,
So
time and place,
yes, they want to follow the unconquered tradition, is what you're saying.
the unconquered tradition, the unconquered
Highly,
tradition.
highly,
You
highly.
understand?
Continue.
And no apologies for that. No apologies for that. I'm saying to our young sisters out there, whether they are Rastafari or non-Rastafari, a modest style of dressing is always the best. It avoids, although we can't control negative attention, but it avoids negative attention. Some persons say that even nuns who dress fully clothed have been violated. Yes, I know that is true as well. But I would encourage persons as much as possible to protect their precious gems. Keep them covered until it's necessary for the persons who need to go hunting for those precious gems be able to find them. All right. So
Highly.
I encourage the head cover,
Yes,
although I have a very beautiful sister of mine, my blood sister,
yes,
who loves her locks, and all her daughters have locks,
yes,
and they choose to, style them and keep them properly
yes,
adorned, you know. Again, when you go to the tabernacle, you would definitely cover them. But I have no problem with a modern day woman who
yes,
doesn't see the need for covering to not
yes,
cover her hair. But
yes,
again, if you're going to go to the tabernacle or in spiritual gatherings, it should be covered.
of
I
course.
also see that, you dress as modest as you can. If you think that you love your pants, you try to not wear those that are tightly clinging over your bottom and your private parts so that they're loose and modest as can be. But in this modern world, I don't think again that your clothing defines who you are. Because I've really heard of different sisters who dress very modest, head always covered, and there's some demons in disguise. And I've
Yes,
known of sisters who do not dress as modest, who would give their soul to the cause. So we just have to learn to love persons for who they are, respect them for who they are, and guide them gently along the path that we think could be better to enhance the overall civilization of our human civilization. But again, I would say to persons, it took me 20 years to find the path of Rastafari, and each day the journey, sometimes I may have slipped, sometimes I may be firm, but I'm still on the path. Now, am I to judge somebody who may take 30 years to find the path? And when they slip, do I beat them with a hammer or do I give them a gentle straightening up? So we have to know how to keep persons because I think our our verbal aggression to burning fire many years ago would have ran a lot of sisters and even a lot of brothers. I've been to the tabernacle, the Naibingi tabernacle, where we know there's a dread who drinks a Guinness, and as soon as he come, we burn a Guinness, or there may be a dread who eat fish. We burn a fish, but we remember we used to eat fish 5 years ago. Now we burn in fish. So I'm thinking that a lot of times we burn so much fire And then we don't bonfire on the man who have the kids who don't take care of them. We don't bonfire on the man who beating his wife because we don't see it. You know, we bonfire on the things that we can see. We don't bonfire on the brother who actually sitting and jealous of brother Kwasi because he on the radio on a program. You know, we bonfire on the things that we physically can see happening, but there are many weakness and wickedness happening behind closed door that we don't know. So we have to be really able to give grace to enough ones and show love and compassion and say, look, let me tell this brother, you know, that vibes that you're doing, it may be off. Check yourself. Alcohol is not good for your system. You know what I mean? As much as you could ease away from alcohol, it's better for you. It mashes up your liver. And eventually, in St. Vincent where we live, we don't do liver transplant. So if you mash up your liver, brother man, it's down the cemetery. You understand? So it's up to you have to know now. If you are be drinking all this alcohol or you are concentrate on drinking more spring water and more, you know what I mean? It's not just the bun, but the edification of the person is
Education,
also
yeah.
very important. The same with the sisters who wearing the pants, you know what I mean? Every time we see them, oh, bonner pants, you know? But sometimes again, as sisters, we transform fucking. We wear only skirts. And then sometimes they have the wandering eyes. To the same pants they tell you don't wear, you catch them wandering and gazing at the woman and the pants in the short. So what do you
Yeah.
want? You tell me to wear long skirt, but I catch you gazing and lusting after something else. So we brothers have to be very careful as well as the messages we send out to the sisters, you know. So that's my take on that for now.
No, no. I have a show called Lion Love. You can watch that one. We just talk about
Mhm,
relationships in Rastafari. You would, I think you would enjoy that. But a lot
mhm.
of the sisters them say the same thing, you know, that the brethren them don't pay them no mind, and
Yeah.
they're with ballad sisters that are dressing, you know, a way that is not consistent with the culture. Muta
Mhm.
Baruka brought up a great point though, that the clothes, you know, it's part of the culture, it's part of the Ital livity, and we must never give up the way that we dress, how we attire ourselves. That it sets us apart, you know what I mean, from Babylon. When we come dressed in our royal African attire and garments, it's a statement. And I've had sisters on here that say one of the things that attracted them to Rastafari when they were young is seeing the Rastafari sisters them in their long skirts and their head wrap and adorned and looking like these are African royalty. You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
definitely think we should never give up that to become regular, you know, dressing like the Babylonians and think that we are becoming modern. I think that would be a travesty, and I think that we would
Agree.
our power, you know, in terms of
Mhm.
as a cultural force. So I definitely encourage young people to shine their African light. And as the I know, if the eye's been to Ghana, and I'm gonna let the eye go because we're in overtime. But when you go to Africa, you know, and you get out of the city, you will find out that the women them wrap them here. They're wearing their long skirts, you know what I mean, even in the farm, wherever they are. So that was one of the things when I was in Ghana. I was saying, wow, the Rastafari really preserved the traditional African culture, you know,
Mhm.
in terms
Mhm.
of how we dress, and not just I and I. And even some of the sisters them wrap their head the same way that the Rastafari sisters them wrap their heads. And they're not Rastafari sisters in the countryside. You don't see it so much in the
Yeah.
city. But when you go to the villages, you will see more of that style. So I and I have done nothing wrong. We just chanted redemption song, you know what I mean? So we need to keep on that pathway.
More focus.
But what we need to do though is have more Rastafari fashion show, more
Mhm.
Rastafari clothing line, you know, more
Mhm.
Rastafari commercials highlighting the gears and things. You know, we just have to. That is how we modernize. It's how we
No,
present
no, you say more Ital fashion show, not more fashion show. I'm thinking we probably need to say Ital fashion.
Ital. I coined a term called Ital luxury, you know. I coined a term called Ital luxury because we need to have our own Ital luxury hotel, Ital luxury clothing. You know what I mean? Just cause we're royal people, as the I say, you know. So we don't need to think about Ital like it's some low class. No, we think up, you know. Um, let me go to the comments and then we seal up here to see if there are any questions. We have our Lion Pride and Patreon family checking in. Ras Roots Live, give thanks. The time is now. Another great reasoning, job, blessed love. Ras Roots is out of Kentucky, United States. Welcome, Honorable Empress. We have Sister Emmanuel, blessed love. She's out of California, one of our Lion Pride and Patreon here from early. Big up Ja Rastafari fam. Bless up yourself. Shashamani Music Productions Incorporated. Greetings,
So
Sister.
Shashamani Music Production is
Yes.
actually my brother Patrick Jr.
Okay.
who I'm trying to manage. So if he's still listening, big up Patrick Jr.
Okay.
He's also a member of the Ital Fest family, you know,
Okay.
but he's now in England. So give thanks, brother Patrick.
Big up yourself. It's way up in the morning hours for England. So big up yourself for the support. Blessed Earth Light to the young sister. So
Oh
you
my
get
gosh, that person called me young, they were.
yes. 14 months for all. Oh, she said. Oh, I think she was talking about when you had your children back to back.
Yes.
Twice. Yes. 14 months
Percent
Caribbean twins. 365 days. So you see, you are not alone. Our elder Johnny Johnson out of El Paso, Texas, tuning into the vibes. Big up to my St. Vincent Rastologist from Union Island, December 7, 1979 Rebellion to 2025 August Ital Festival. Yes, Johnny Johnson with the history. I and I saw humbled, honored to be a Rastafari daughter. Big up, big up. Shashamani Productions, April 2020.
Oh, that was the volcanic eruption. Yes, I said 2019. Thank you, Patrick.
Yes, bless
I
up.
think those comments came when we were talking about that.
Yeah, the volcano, yes. Definitely on the visit. I want to visit all the Rastafari villages, of course. CV Archibald said, "This beloved Empress Aisha is so Ideisha is so humble and so powerful." Yes, she is, and she has she has gained the younger brothers. Cause me now make her leave me alone. Me tell you,
I tell you.
we're going to do some work. Happy Earth Strong. All right. Roxanne Gladsko said that is so true, hon. Okay, we missed that comment, Sister Roxanne, but we know it was a powerful. Human resources and accounting are imperative talents in I&I unified Rastafari community. Definitely. You should interview, this is Zazu, you should interview Professor Jared Bell from Black Liberation Media as he is critical of capitalist arguments as a genuine solution to systematic racism. And I want to make clear, even though we talk about business, we're not capitalists. You know what I mean? We're really looking at the social enterprise model where the businesses are using their profits to fund the upliftment of the society, not just profit for profit's sake. You make this bag of money and it now benefit the people. We're using Marcus Garvey model and it's a hybrid model. So the government have certain responsibility to invest and that's how Ethiopia was built. But you also need a strong private business sector. So that's how we look at it. We're not capitalists at all, but we know the importance of capital. Zazu said we should shy away from opponent processing to strengthen our argument, or we shouldn't shy away from opponent processing. No, I like to agree to disagree, because I don't like to be a yes man, and I don't like to be surrounded in an echo chamber. So I love when we have intelligent discourse about different topics, different viewpoints, Socratic reasoning. I would call it Kemetic, or I would call it Ethiopian, because Socrates just come one day and him love little boys, so we don't really deal with Socrates around here too much, respectfully. Johnny Johnson, while studying medicine in St. Lucia, virus fort in 1980s, I used to take a motorboat to St. Vincent on weekends. St. Vincent Rastologists were quite active in Pan Africanism or perish. Shashamani, all right, big up the St. Vincent elders. True, true. Zazu said tourism, exploitation versus pilgrimage, sacredness. Definitely, there's a model, there's a right way to do tours and a wrong way, you know. We don't want to be a sideshow or a poppy show, as we would say in Jamaica, for tourists. Ras Roots Life say he yearns for community. Well, your community is here on the Lion. Super Citizen, big up yourself, Super Citizen. Greetings to the Idem, blessed love. And we featured Super Citizen in our latest newsletter. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can go to our website, subscribe, and get access to our newsletter. We have a monthly newsletter for the channel, and we feature our Lion Pride and Patreon members, and Super Citizen was featured. So big up yourself. Zazu said the Life and Death 2001 documentary, directed by Stephanie Black and Jamaica Kincaid essay, did a powerful job showing how tourist culture can be predatory. Definitely, we're familiar. I don't think that's what the sister was talking about at all. Thanks for having this powerful African woman on your format. She represents the Black African market woman globally as our first entrepreneurs. She has common sense and education. Definitely, I could see that, Johnny Johnson. That's our Ella Johnny Johnson, so it's a high praise that she is a queen mother,
Thank you.
traditional
I
woman.
know when I went to Ghana, that's what they call us, queen mothers.
Yes,
Give thanks.
yes. And we didn't even touch the Africa trip. That's part two.
I know,
Uh,
part two.
yeah, part two. Non-GMO versus non-bioengineered. Zazu, you're active in the comments. I hope you're a subscriber. The Moorish American community is big on giving sisters the turban wrap degree lesson. You could view some online to get an idea of how to demonstrate
Such
such
technique.
techniques.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, big up Zazu. Nutrition is a minor course in allopathic medicine
Homeopathic
syllabus.
medicine symbols. Okay.
Yes, curriculum, but ITAL is vital. Yes,
Mhm.
ITAL is very vital, and I think that can be incorporated in the Ital Fest is the more the health demonstrations and reasonings. Cod liver oil, known for its high content of omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins A and D, and with various other health benefits. Definitely for those who eat fish, cod liver oil is an option. The hemp seed, a lot of us like hemp seed that have the omegas in the hemp seed and flaxseed oil and other plant-based sources. But for those who eat fish, because we have a lot of 12 tribe brethren and other ones who eat fish, you know, that information is good. Um, Corporate sponsors are good, but ITAL support from Rastologists is a must. Um, that is one thing I wanted to say to the global family. We have these support by government, but that doesn't mean that the community doesn't need to step up. We should be the funding, everything we get from the government should be brought up that can be used to plus the event. But the basic costs should be coming from our community businesses and things. So let us use
And
this as
the
part.
thing is that we need to step it up. We need to step it up. We need to come on board and say, look, I could put 100, I could put 200, because as we often say, one wonderful basket. So we're looking at here, we would love to have the 5,000s and the 10,000s. But if we can't get the 5,000 and the 10,000, and we could get 10, 100, it's still 10,000. So
Of
we gotta
course.
try to see how we could really step up the game, because I find we are supposed to be funding our activities. We want to bond the system, we want to bond corporate, and eventually those are who we have to go for financing to carry out these
Yeah.
activities. So, we
Yeah.
need to put up
And
where our mouth is.
and there's no shame because we all pay taxes. So the money is there to serve us as well. So for those who say we must not access government
True,
money,
true.
you don't understand how government work. We are paying, that's our money. So, just like every other group get the money, we must get some of the money too to do what we want to do with it. But we shouldn't depend on that. That is where the
Definitely.
sin come in, is now we're just looking at government. The
The
government
brata,
are
the
paying.
brata come in.
Yes. You see me I say? So that is it. So I want our community to know that. Zazu said, so Ital Fest was subsidized by the government authorities. Maybe they can hold Rasta Fest on a private corporate beachfront for wealthy Europeans. Laugh out loud. You have a sense of humor, but that's what we're trying to avoid. I mean, is that kind of situation where the government come in, because even with things like Caravana, biggest Caribbean festival in Toronto, is the government run it now. I mean, it took it from the community because the community was fighting every year about the money, and the management wasn't good. So the government came in and took it over. And we're in danger of that happening to us if we build up these festivals and we don't get our act together and work together. This is what happens. And all of our festivals are having the same issue. I just interviewed Tony Rebel. Check out that interview. And he's having the same issue with Rebel Salute, with sponsorship. And these things, he can't go to his Rastafari family to get sponsorship. He has to go to these other companies. So this is across the board issue. You know what I mean? Um, this is very serious. Zazu said the wealthy families that own Haiti often have significant land holdings in other islands too, but ownership can be complex and ambiguous to trace. Definitely, definitely. Um, we have a lot of comments. I'm not gonna go through all of this, um, but definitely. Let me see. Excellent reasoning. Both of the eyes really idle up the entire program. Respect, blessing,
Mhm.
bless. Zazu said, "Me love you, brethren. I'm just pushing your buttons for the comedic reasoning. Respect. Kwasi can link up with Yeezy, with Balenciaga and Victoria Secrets. I don't get that one day. That joke they miss, Zazu. You have to come again with that one day and fix up your thing. Come again. We like laugh too, but that one they miss. That one was missing. Akebulon Empress Sounds, big up Virgin Island family. Congratulations on the fest. Hail up, reggae, Janier. We play on
Reggae.
Regioneer, yeah
That's
man.
our DJ.
Okay,
Reggae.
okay, 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 okay. Kevin Empress Sound, we'll soon get you on the program. Don't worry yourself. All right, so just give us some final sounds, my sister, to the global
Yes,
Rastafari
well,
family, and let them know how they can support the item works.
so give thanks to all ones who listening tonight. I, um, as members of the Ital Fest promotion, we are currently on a mission of promoting Ital natural living in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to the world. Um, we started off with Ital Fest Royalty, we had Ital Fest Unity, which were both tremendous success and could not have been so without the support of our sponsors and the patrons who came out to support the activity. We're looking forward to to pushing through to another year. Ital Fest 2026, still to brand it, what's the title, what it's going to be, and the team. But this is activities that we need to keep pushing forward to enhance the life and to showcase the life of the Rastafari community in our region, in our country, and to the world. Now, how can you support us? We would be having always merchandise to sell, Ital Fest bottles, Ital Fest tote bags, Ital Fest key rings, and we are also open to financial contributions as well to help us to make this activity more indigenous, as in indigenous to the Rastafari community. And we're looking to spreading it around the region for countries who don't have a festival like this. We're looking to move to those areas as well to have activities such as these. We're grateful for the support, we're grateful for the love from each and every one. First and foremost, I would say I'm a Rasta woman and would always be a Rasta woman and would continue doing the works of Rastafari each and every day. Rastafari is my life and is my love. Ital Fest is just one of the exhibition of this love for the Rastafari community. So, we always doing works, in particular with children. We always need books, every especially Afrocentric books. Persons as simple as you can see it, buying a book for $5 US, $10 US goes a long way for persons like us in the Caribbean. And we just want to just continue to do the works, and if in any way simple, and as I rightfully and correctly say, one wonders full basket, it's just like these my causes, our causes get fulfilled. We want to raise 100 book, one person by one, 100 persons by one, we have 100 books. And that's how we do things on a regular basis. So just give thanks for having us here on this program. Looking forward to more discussions in the future, and looking forward to sharing this lion talk with many others so that they can listen, learn, because it seems, thus far the interactions was great. And when I looked at the one with Sister Sheba, I know the interactions are natural and just mystic, just free reasonings. So give thanks, give thanks, give thanks.
Yes. That is what attracted I to the movement, was the reasoning, you know what I mean? And I think we're missing that. That's just the love of a reasoning, you're just climbing, you're building, it's not an argument, you know what I mean? And we just full joy in the brilliance of the
Yeah.
different minds and point of view. So that is what this channel is built on. And we have Rastafari from Nigeria, Rastafari from Ghana, Rastafari from Jamaica, Trinidad. The I bust the seal for Saint Vincent. But we're trying to get, and I focus on Black Rastafari because we know every knee shall bow, every tongue confess. But I'm very intentional about highlighting Black Rastafari because I'm Pan African, and I want to make sure that we feed the root of the movement so that the branches can grow strong. So, everybody have a lane. My lane is the Black Rastafari current, because that current need right now, as the I stated, we need that spark. We need that light. We
Keep
need
it the
to,
fire to keep it alive.
yeah, man, to keep that spark alive and to make it blaze up right now. So I've been called by His Majesty to do that work, and we are dutifully answering that call. So give thanks, my sister. Now that I know that the I is a co-host, you can't get rid of me now. Have your number
No,
now.
it's
So
all.
yeah,
It's
you're a
all.
reason. We're gonna put together a
Yeah.
panel. I would love to do a Saint Vincent panel now next, so we can do a panel, just different voices, and I can be the co-host. I would nice it up, you know what I mean?
Great,
So,
great,
so
great,
yeah,
great,
we
great,
definitely
great.
will talk about that. Family, this was a joy, and we're not gonna stop. We're gonna continue. We're at 41 people in the Patreon. We're trying to get to 50 family before September 11th, so we can start to vote. We're gonna be giving a grant from the channel to workers within the Rastafari community, and our Patreon members are gonna vote on who the person is. So we're gonna be giving monetary grants out on behalf of the collective. My dream, before I go, Sister Ideisha. My dream, because I'm very close to 50,000 subscribers, is that every Wednesday, 50,000 people give $10 to the guests. 500,000 we drop on somebody's head top right away. You understand? I don't think we realize the power that we can harness right now. We can fully fund projects, schools, hospitals in one day.
Yeah, bro.
The power of the numbers of using the technology, and it don't cost anybody more than $5-10. That is my
True.
vision for this channel. That's where
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. To reach
So
that level would be super great,
we're gonna do
Yeah.
it because now I have
Yes, man.
the Ideisha with I know they can't stop they can't stop
Can't stop.
I don't have a
Stop. Can't.
Ferrari and I don't have a Bugatti, but I have Sister Ideisha, my big sister now.
And we have Rastafari.
Haile Selassie the first,
I
Kadamari,
tell you.
Gusanagas. So family, make
Thank
sure
you.
you like and subscribe, you share. We're not gonna
Definitely,
stop.
definitely.
Yes, the time has come for
Encourage
the
you
lions to tell their own story. And this is
to
the Lion.
Lion Talk.
Yes.
The time has come for lions to
Greetings.
tell our own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Ras Tafari hailing from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to you Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari, because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, Look how we work together, Whoa, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Haile, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress Men in Bless. Yeah, man, hailing from St. Croix, Rastafari, I hear you.
Aye.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
Yeah, man. Greetings, Rastafari, Haile Emperor, the King Selassie, the first, the perfect balance, Empress Menin. This is first man for Rastafari Indigenous Village, recognizing, accepting, promoting Lion Voice. Yes, the voice of Rastafari, speaking about Rastafari, educating Rastafari, preserving, protecting Rastafari. Give thanks.
Aye, Rastafari, mighty.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega, representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Now drop your guard when it come to them, ya youth, yeah. Them fully guard up and them quick fi execute, yeah. Now drop your guard when it come to them, ya youth, yeah. The one will laugh, I'm same one of the shooter. Watching them, this is Rasta Jai representing for the Lion Voice Network. This is the time when the lion gets to tell our own story. Haile Selassie.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Ras Tafari-owned. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Ras Tafari-owned said that. Are you satisfied Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the Lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, Tessa?
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.